friends, let's talk about merging your fit life with your social life. This is something I know that I didn't see how could be possible back in the day, and I see a lot of ladies struggling with this, but it is definitely possible if you think through it and it's done intentionally. So I'm going to break it all down today. But first, I want to give you a little announcement. So I want to answer a question that I have been getting a lot lately, along with something new that I'm going to be doing. So I've been asked, do you offer one-on-one coaching? Do you have like one-on-one option? And so that, for whatever reasons, being asked a lot lately. So I see that there's a need. And generally, my answer has always been to this that I don't, because I really think that Create Your Shape has the best of both one-on-one and all of the course materials and all of the group aspects. And I only reserve a few one-on-one spots for my alumni. However, I do realize that some people want that higher touch point. Some people don't want to be with anyone else. And so that is totally fine if that is your really your personal preference. So I hear you. I'm getting asked a lot. So I want to do something that I haven't done in a really long time, and that is open up some one-on-one spots to the public and at a flash sale. So I only have 5 one-on-one spots that I'm going to be opening up to anyone who is a lady who is lifting weights with the goals of either building muscle or decreasing body fat or recomping, has performance goals. Really, it's your specific goal that we're going to focus on. However, my philosophy stays the same. I'm just going to be coaching you through it one-on-one. So we're going to have a strategy. It's going to be science backed. We're going to kick off with a call to talk through your goals and your strategy. It's going to be science based, and you're going to learn through the whole process. You're going to gain knowledge, and you're going to create your nutrition routine that runs on autopilot. Now, you'll have access to Create Your Shape in my programs, but it's going to be one-on-one coaching, and really we're going to dive into more of what you need. So I am only opening up this for a short period of time. So there's only 4 spots. And if you do want to sign up, you have to sign up by August 24th. So if you're listening to this later, just know that this is August 24th, 2025. You have to sign up by then, but you can start anytime in August, September, or October. You don't have to start then. So if you have something where it makes sense for you to start in September, that's totally fine. We can talk about it. So what you'll want to do if you want one of these spots is you'll just reach out to me. You can do so at jennythenutritionist.com, or you can send me a message on Instagram at Jenny the Nutritionist. Those 2 places are going to be the best spot to reach out to me and either ask more questions or say you're interested, or to just tell me that you want one of these spots, because this is a flash sale. So I'm putting it on sale, but it is limited spots in limited time. So reach out to me if you want to work with me one-on-one, and let's get into it and let's get started. All right, so I wanted to share that, but now let's talk about, which we may coach on during that, because I know I coach a lot on it with my ladies, of merging your fit life with your social life. So generally I see that ladies want to be the fit chick, right? You want to be the one who prioritizes your health. You want to eat high quality food. You want to take your supplements. You want to get your zone 2 cardio in. You want to lift heavy. That is who you are at your core. And you have fitness goals, right? You may have physique goals. You may have someone right now who's really into golf and they've got golf goals. You may have CrossFit competition goals or high rocks competition goals. Or you may be I want to grow my glutes. I want to grow these boulder shoulders. You want to look the part, right? You want to look like you are that fit person. You want to be in your bikini over the summer and people being oh, you must work out. Or making, how when people make comments because you're fit and they're kind of making fun of you, but they're also complimenting you. You want those, right? You want to be yeah, I'm that person who is the fit one in the group and I look the part. And I look the part, but I also am the part. I can do all the activities. I can do all the sports, right? If we're playing like kickball, or if we're on the beach and we're playing volleyball, like if we're throwing the football, right? You want to be capable of all of that, and not only feel good and not only be functional, but like look hot, right? You want to go to dinners and dress up in your little outfit and be like, yeah, she looks fire. She looks great, because you take care of yourself and you know how to fine tune to have that look. Like you want to be that fit chick. I get it, right? I think most of us do. However, at the same time, you also want to be the social person. You want to have that social life where you're like, yeah, I'll meet up with friends, or you go on lunch dates with your friends, or you go to wineries with your friends, or a batch party, or you have weddings that you attend because you've got a big circle of friends, or you want to go on the holiday bus party where you go and see the lights and it's like an event. Like you want to do these activities too. Or you want to go on and attend the work event, right? Where you guys go bowling or you go to a happy hour. Like you want to enjoy that stuff too. And you also want to travel. Like you want to go to Italy. You want to go to Europe. You want to go to the beach. You want to have weekend trips, where maybe you have hiking trips or a trip to Denver, or I'm just thinking all the things that I would do, right? But you guys like that stuff too. And you want to do activities in your own city, right? You want to go maybe to like the baseball game or the football game, or you want to go to the concert of the like Morgan Wallen who's in town. Just thinking through all the things I would want to do, right? Like you want to be active to and say yes to these events, and having date nights, right? You want to have, I have a client who has day dates with their partner, and it's like every other Saturday they go and they do this like bike ride where they go and they stop at different food places, and they go to different, maybe it's different like shopping places or different like spots around where they live, and make like a whole day event of it. You want to be the person who does all of these things while prioritizing and looking like the fit chick person. And I know a lot of people run into problems trying to do both. The main things that they run into is, to a lesser degree, but still it's there, is time. Right? They're like, well, I couldn't fit in, maybe it's training session, maybe the walk to get the steps that you need, or like the cardio day that you do on your off day. Like I couldn't fit that in because we had a full day packed. That's something I see. Or the main thing that I see, and the main issue that I see, is the eating and drinking that comes along with this social life and those activities. That really is the main problem that people run into, because they're torn, because they want to do these events and they have so much fun, but then afterwards they're like, well, I'm regressing, or I'm not making progress towards this fit chick lifestyle that I also have. So here's how to solve for all of these. And it may be different than what you think, but it is definitely solvable. So there's 3 things I want to cover. The first is, changing your shape is different than maintaining your shape. So you've got to know this, and you've got to know how to separate the two and categorize the two differently. When you are changing your shape, that is a lot harder and takes a lot more effort, and you have to be more fine-tuned. Versus when you're maintaining it, you have so much more flexibility. So I suggest, and what it would take was, yes, sacrificing for 2 to 3 months while you're specifically in a like deficit phase, right? Sacrificing then, but that is so worth it to then live the rest of, not only the rest of the year and the rest of all those activities, but it could be like, that could be your new shape for like years and years to come, long term, right? So it's worth sacrificing just those 2 to 3 months to have the rest of your life in that year and those activities in that fit shape that you want. The other thing is having a strategy and mapping the time out intentionally. So map out the time when you are going to go into this like intentional phase where you're like, yeah, this is a good time frame that I'm okay pulling back a little on the social activities. And that doesn't mean you can't have any. I have clients right now, they of course have social lives. And so the whole time we work together, is not full on you can't be social, right? But there is a short dedicated period of time where like, hey, we got to be way more on top of it. How are we going to handle these things? And we just plan, we minimize certain events, but then the ones they really want to go to, we just plan intentionally for them, which I'm going to get into in a second. So really the first thing is when you have to quote unquote like sacrifice, just do it for a short dedicated period of time where you are focused on changing your shape, and then the rest of the time maintaining your shape. You don't have to do that. So that's the first thing I want to mention. The second thing that I want to mention is having fitness friends with a fitness mindset. Your activities, what you do, the main event will change. Here's an example. I have a group of friends where if we spent the day at the lake, this is what it would look like. We would wake up, we would have probably like biscuits and gravy for breakfast, and then like midday everyone would start drinking, and so we'd start like drinking beers or cocktails, and that would go on all day. So that's probably like 6+ drinks or more like during that day. And then the like dinner's lunch would be like burgers with the buns and fries or like chips, right? And then you'd just be snacking on chips or like deep fried food throughout the whole day. And we'd probably just like sit around and like soak in the sun, or like sit in the lake and soak in the sun. Okay, that's one friend group. That's what that would look like. I also have another friend group, which they're actually coming to the lake soon, so I know exactly, I can picture this exactly. But this is what our day is going to look like. We're going to wake up and we're going to do it's like 45-minute walk, because I already know the path that they're going to want to do, and it's going to be so fun. They're going to want to do it. So we're going to go on a big long walk. And then our meals are going to be like, our breakfast is probably going to be our standard breakfast where we're hitting our protein, and we may not be tracking right our macros, but we know how to estimate. We know the type of food, so we're probably going to be pretty close. And then we're going to go to the gym because it's like part of our enjoyment, and we love that feeling of lifting weights. And then we'll come back and we'll have like a macro friendly lunch, and then we'll go out on the boat and do activities. So we'll go like tubing or wakeboarding or like swimming, right? We'll be active and be doing these different things. And then at night we'll have dinner. Like it'll be a good dinner, but it may be like steak and rice and like a big salad to go with it, and it's gonna be like delicious and grilled, but probably like still high quality. And then we may have like a drink or two and like really enjoy the night and like play games or play pool and like sing and stuff. So that life, the outcome of that day from a health and like nutrition standpoint on my physique and health is going to be drastically different than the first example I gave. Now, does that mean that you like have to do one of these? No, but it just gives you a little insight into like, oh, the people who I'm around are going to heavily influence the output of my like health in physique. So just something to consider. I always encouraging people to find and make fitness friends and have that circle. It doesn't mean you need to like kick everybody else out or not hang out with other friends or family, but even just doing that a little bit more, being around those friends a little bit more is probably going to be more enjoyable and beneficial for you for the long term. Okay, so that's the second thing, but that's not all. This is what you really want, the details, right? So number 3 is get savvy when you are maintaining. So when you are in that maintaining time frame where you're like, okay, I've already built my shape, I've already decreased the body fat, now I just am going to maintain it, right? If you don't do all these things, it's going to be very easy to go backwards and essentially overconsume or offset your like training to then not have the shape that you want to maintain and look like that fit chick. So most of you guys who are listening to this podcast are like, wait, I do have changes I want to make, but then I want to be able to maintain it. So get savvy about maintaining. This is a skill in itself. The two factors that are going to get in the way is going to be time and overeating. So when it comes to time, that's really just going to cut into like training time. And most of you guys love working out, so that won't be an issue. However, sometimes it will be, right? You can't fit everything in. So knowing how to train for the bare minimum, aka knowing how to train where you still maintain your shape, is important. And really that comes down to maybe like one set all out, but you got to know what that means and kind of fine tune that. But that definitely is one part. The second part is, how do you stop overeating so you don't go into a surplus and gain body fat or gain body fat back? I'm going to give a list of things that you can do and consider. First, what events do you want to be like on, or is it worth being off for? So this is sometimes things I coach my clients through, and we look and we're just looking ahead at the calendar. I'm like, what do you have coming up? And I'm gonna go, well, my friend has this event that I want to go to. I've got this wedding that I'm going to go to. I've got this thing we do on Saturdays. This is Wednesdays. I was like, okay, great. And then we can actually estimate and do the math to figure out, okay, if you do all of these how you typically would, you would gain body fat. So which ones are not that important that you're like, wait a minute, it is not worth me going to this like restaurant. I'm just thinking of like a kid's baseball game where everyone after the baseball game goes to like a restaurant that is like, you're doing it appealing for the kids. And people are like, yeah, it's not worth me overeating on that like food that I don't really like and it's not really good anyway. I would rather like be on still at that event and then be off at my friend's, 40th birthday party where we're going to this really nice restaurant that I've been wanting to go to, right? So going through and like prioritizing what's worth being off and what is not worth it, and you're still going to be on. Okay. So then the next thing is, don't let food be the main event, or it doesn't have to be the main event. So lately I've been really thinking about this with like going out to eat with my friends, where if the only thing you're thinking about is, oh my gosh, I can't wait to eat, 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 then that probably is telling us something where we need to get something more exciting going on in your life. Or what else could be fun about the event? Maybe it's like putting together your outfit and wearing the outfit. Maybe it's actually catching up with that person. Maybe it's telling them a story. Maybe it's laughing so hard. Like maybe it's actually just connecting. Maybe it's going shopping at the market and like seeing what they have there. Like what else is at the event that could be the main event that's not what you're most excited about? Just that mindset switch is going to make it much more enjoyable. Or it's actually maybe going to the game and actually watching the game, right? And the main event isn't the like popcorn at the movie. This is something that I'm working on because I love popcorn. To me, going to a movie, the main event might be popcorn. But it used to be the like candy in like the candy that came along with that. But now I'm like, oh wait, what movie are we actually seeing? Let me get into it. Let me look up things about it beforehand so I can get more into the actual event, not just the food and the drink at the event. Okay, next is create your plate. So whatever event you're at, if you're out to dinner, if you're at a friend's house, if you're like out and about, like make sure you are creating your plate. So create your plate's like my popular concept and tool where you're getting a portion of protein, you're getting a portion of carbs, and then you're getting vegetables in, all on your plate. This sets you up for success to be satisfied and be full and balance your blood sugars, but also get in adequate calories, but not overdoing it with calories, and making sure you're getting in enough protein. So along with that, bring protein powder. So it may be like if you're traveling, definitely bring protein powder, but also when you're out and about or you're at an event, or what you can do before or after is at grocery stores or at convenience stores when you're traveling, they have the, like, I'm thinking of like Muscle Milk and Core Power, right? They have high, like, they're like 40 grams of protein shakes that you can grab. Now, if that's more convenient than bringing actual protein powder, that's an option too. But you just want to make sure you're getting in protein, because then you won't be as hungry, and then you're also getting in the protein to maintain muscle mass. Okay, another consideration is fats are generally going to be higher when you're going out to eat and when you're eating outside of your home, from the oils, the dairies, the creams, the sauces, all of that. So what you can do is know that when you go out, ask for the dressing on the side. All salads, dressing on the side. All dishes, can I get the dressing on the side? And then ask for no oils. So if they're like soaking your vegetables in oils, you're not going to know ahead of time. Just ask ahead of time. Can I get no oils on this? Can it not be cooked in butter? Right? Ask all of these things and just make it a habit. And that's going to reduce so much of that fat and calories when you go out. What you can also do is go lower in carbs throughout the day or at your dinner if you know fat is also going to be higher. That's something else to consider, that you might even want to do both of those. Another thing is having your fats reduced earlier in the day, because you know if you go out to eat, generally bare minimum your fats are going to be like 25 grams in your meal. If you don't do anything about it and you go to like a nicer place, it's more likely going to be 65 grams or more of fats just in one meal, right? So like you can reduce throughout the rest or earlier in the day to offset that. Okay, another thing is alcohol options. So getting savvy with your alcohol options in your like go-to drink, I would first do that. And that could be just skinny margarita, right? Changing out from margarita to skinny margarita, or mixing it with like sparkling water versus ginger ale. All those things will be helpful, but you can also put in a system where you're like, okay, I do a glass of water between every drink, or I only drink when I'm not eating, meaning when I'm eating food, I'm drinking water with that, and then when I'm not eating food, that's when I have my drink. So you kind of balance out all of the quote unquote like pleasures. Another thing is add in more activity. So maybe you walk to the restaurant and then you walk back. This is a great one if you're going like on a beach trip. Instead of driving there, you get in a walk after or before. You're just going to feel so much better too. Another thing to consider is choosing your vices. So if you go out to dinner and it's just a typical dinner that you go out to and you're like, oh, I'm going to get the wine, I'm going to have a couple of drinks, and I'm also going to get the dessert, and then I'm also going to get my favorite meal that's super rich and dense on the menu, right? You're like stacking all of those overages up to put yourself in a surplus. Instead, you can say, okay, I'm going to focus on the wine tonight, so I'm not going to get dessert. Or I'm not going to drink tonight, but I am going to get the dessert, right? You can kind of pick and choose your vice there. Or you can say, all right, well, I'm going to get my carbs, or I'm offsetting my carbs through my alcohol, so I'm going to remove the carbs from my Create Your Plate dinner tonight. All right, what else you can do is solve for problems ahead of time. This is really good for events, holidays, like plan ahead and know like, okay, what problem am I going to run into? Oh, there's not going to be any vegetables at this event. Okay, I'm going to bring the vegetable. Or, oh, they're going to do burgers and they're going to be super high fat burgers with buns. Oh, okay, I'm going to bring my own burger or my own lean meat or my own options, right? So that way you can bring alternatives to the event or start planning ahead to find other things that you know are the problem you're going to run into. Estimating macros is something else that is going to be so beneficial, because then when you're out and about, you can be like, okay, 1, do I have room for this? Or 2, how can I make room for this? Or how can I swap this out or adjust the portion so I know for my day, I am not gaining body fat. I know that I'm not overeating to gain body fat. And then lastly, I think this is probably something we don't consider enough, and that is just eating less. I think we consider it, right, when we're like trying to be good throughout the week, and then that like gets us into a problem, because that's why I preach all the time, eat enough, eat enough, eat enough. But when we're already eating enough consistently, especially if you've worked with me, that would be you. If you're already fueling yourself and you're eating enough consistently, then on these one-off days that are generally going to be higher dense food, it's so much easier to overeat those types of food. So what you can do if you're going to have foods that are like not whole real foods and high quality foods, that you just have it, but you eat less of it, right? You just, instead of having a full croissant, you have half of a croissant or one bite of a croissant. Instead of having multiple desserts when you go to a wedding, maybe you just have one bite of each one, right? So this is how you get savvy, and these are just a handful of ideas to make these social outings so much more like beneficial for your goals and essentially balance in with the fit chick that you want to be. This is how you merge the two. You really just get savvy with the latter one, with everything I talked about. And of course, having a strategy and knowing when do I need to be on and when can I just enjoy all this? And then when I am just enjoying all this, how can I be like savvy and fine tune it so I'm not gaining back body fat or gaining more body fat. This is how you do it. Merging your fit life in your social life. See you next week on the Create Your Shape podcast.